This is Math Unmasked for Unit 7, Lesson 17. So today we are talking about multiples, which is the product, the answer to a multiplication question when a number is multiplied by another. And then we're talking about least common multiples. So this is sort of the opposite of the greatest common factor that we did yesterday, where we are looking at the smallest multiple that two numbers have in common. So if, for example, I was looking for the least common multiple of like 20 and 7, right? One way I could do this is I could think about, I'm going to multiply 20. So I've got 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 160, 180. This seems like a good time to stop and point out I could keep this list going literally forever. There are an infinite number of multiples of numbers because we can just keep multiplying indefinitely. We don't have an end point when we are counting, which is why we will never see a greatest common multiple. It is always the least common multiple. Okay, so 7, right? I could start counting, I could do 14, 21, but the reality is I am not going to get, but I can do this, 28, 35, 42, but I'm not going to get to anything until I get to 40, right? So all of those aren't. So another way to do this, as opposed to listing out all of these, is to going and saying, okay, which of these numbers is also a multiple of 7? And this isn't, this isn't, this isn't, this isn't, this isn't, but this is. But I would have had to count by 7 20 times to get to that. So if I'm looking at 20 and 7, the least common multiple is 140. That's a strategy for finding it. Getting at your multiplication table, counting by those numbers, that is good practice in order to do this. Sometimes the least common multiple is the number that you get when you multiply the two numbers, but that is not always true. For example, if I took 6 and 8, right, when I multiply these together, that multiple is 48. But I can get to 24 counting by 6, right? 6, 12, 18, 24. And I can get to 24 counting by 8, 8, 16, 24. So in fact, 24 is the least common multiple for 6 and 8, not 48. So it is important to kind of reason through that. Sometimes multiplying the two numbers together to get the least common multiple, or we sometimes see this abbreviated as LCM, but sometimes we have to do a little bit more digging. Good luck on your homework.